The Syrian regime appears to be winning the war militarily, but this does not mean that it will be able to provide security and stability in Syria. And that is because the Syrian regime is not the same as the Syrian state. Looking at the state in this conflict shows that its institutions have remained. However, a closer look shows that these institutions have been hollowed out from the inside, because the Syrian state has become a transactional state that is reliant on transactional relationships with a number of non-state actors, as well as some actors that come from state institutions, who now operate on the basis of pursuing their own interests rather than the state interests. But the state has to rely on them for the provision of services or for military gains because its capacity has been reduced. And this changes the character of the Syrian state from what it used to be, which is a shadow state run largely by the security apparatus. Russia and Iran are both supporting the Syrian regime in the conflict, and without them, the regime would not have been able to prevail over the opposition militarily. However, although they are allies, they are also competing in Syria. They are competing over economic resources, and the Syrian state is forced to keep both of them happy, sometimes making similar promises to both. But in this relationship, it is Russia that has the upper hand over Iran and over the Syrian regime. Having said that, Russia at the same time is not able to contain Iran's influence in Syria completely or force the regime all the time to do what Russia wants. So we have a relationship between the three sides that is largely uncomfortable and largely dependent on the pragmatism of Iran and Russia in this conflict. What Russia ultimately wants is to sustain Syrian state institutions, but have them be loyal to it. Whereas what Iran is doing is try to create grassroots influence in Syria so that no matter the shape of the institutions in the country, it will still have influence from the bottom up.
We continue to believe that Syria requires a political solution and there is no military solution in Syria.
We should be very careful that any international agreement made with the objective of bringing stability to Syria does not end up playing into the hands of the regime or the hands of Russia and Iran that are using the Syrian state as a playground for the realization of their ambitions.